Hey guys, Matt here. Today I want to go over why I feel you may be interested in a MacBook Pro mid-2012 15-inch model. If you are looking for a computer made by Apple that is, a bit cheaper, but still runs really well in, today's world and what you need, this computer will work for you. We're going to be going over 4 topics: specs, price point, reliability, and upgradability. First thing we're going to talk about is specs. One great thing about this machine is you don't have to worry if you're going to get an i7 or a quad-core processor, because even the base model comes with a 2.3 gigahertz Intel Core i7 processor. It comes standard with 4 gigs of RAM, but you can upgrade it to 16 gigs. It also comes standard with a 500 gigabyte 5400 RPM hard drive. We will go over this more in detail later. First off, we have the MagSafe port. That is great, and they have since discontinued it in the 2016 and newer models. A magnet holds the cable to the MagSafe board, so when you're using it and say someone trips on it or gets yanked for whatever reason, it's just going to come out and the computer will stay stationary. One of my favorite things. Next, we have a traditional gigabit Ethernet port, so you can plug in and use the internet that way. Next, we have the FireWire 800. FireWire is great if you're into audio because a lot of really great interfaces use that port. We have the Thunderbolt 1 port. I personally use Thunderbolt for my UAD interface. I love it and it runs great. I have a mid-2012 13-inch i7, so I do not have a quad-core model, and it runs great for pretty much everything I need. Next up, we have the first computer Apple made with a CD drive that has USB 3. It is actually the only one they had that had USB 3 that also had a CD drive. We have an SD card slot for photography. And finally, we also have the last model to include both audio in for a dedicated microphone and audio out for a headphone. We also have another favorite feature of mine, which is the battery indicator light. If you're kind of wanting to know where your charge is and the computer's not on, you just plug that and it can give you a readout. Next, we're going to talk about the price point. What I did here is I pulled up eBay to kind of show you what you guys can expect when you're looking at this computer price-wise. You'll see on the first one here, that's actually not a bad price, about $699. And you're also getting upgraded RAM and the upgraded storage. So you're getting a 256 gigabyte solid-state drive, and you're getting 16 gigs of RAM from the standard 4. That's a really good buy. This one's $400. They're also priced differently depending on what the processor speed is. This one's actually the highest one at 2.7, and it's bidded around $400. And I'm sure that one's going to go up since it has about 7 days. So that kind of gives you guys an idea of around what you're going to pay for pricing. Next, we're going to talk about reliability. This reason right here is the number one reason why I recommend this 2012 model over the 2011 and 2010 15-inch. Reason being, both those years had significant issues with their graphics cards. They actually issued a warranty program to get those repaired, but they had stopped that since. So if you're out there looking for a 2011 or 2010 15-inch, you may get a good price on it, and then a couple months later or a year later, you may have to replace that logic board. Well, you're out of luck. Apple doesn't sell that part anymore, so you're going to have to get it third party, and it's going to cost you, between $300 and $500. One awesome thing about the MacBook Pro 15-inch 2012 model, it doesn't have any known issues. It seems like a lot of Apple's 15-inch models have had known issues. I personally work on these computers every day, and I see the MacBook Pro 15 2012 the least. And if I do see it, it's for very minimal low price repairs. Maybe a hard drive went bad or a hard drive cable. But I really don't think I've ever replaced many logic boards on that, or a top case, or a keyboard or a display or something like that. And Apple's also still doing repairs on mid-2012s. Those are not vintage. Those ones are still being used, they're still being worked on, and Apple still has parts for them. I personally don't know when those are going to go vintage. They are the last model Apple made with that CD drive, so I don't think they're going to go vintage for maybe 3 years or so. Let me talk about what I have pulled up right here. So this is the repair extension program they had for the 2011 model. They updated it to show the affected models only being mid-2012 to early 2013. And as you can see, that's the Retina models, because they did have a mid-2012 Retina and a mid-2012 non-Retina, and that can be kind of confusing. So again, this is the number one reason why I'd recommend that mid-2012. It's very, very reliable. Next, we're going to talk about upgradability. So no joke, it literally took me like 10 minutes to find a decent picture of the inside of this computer. And this is the best I got. It's kind of fuzzy, but it'll do for now. Awesome thing about this machine is almost all the important parts that you need to replace, you can either get through Apple or you can get third party. Let's start by talking about the battery. So the battery here, you can get through Apple or you can get through some companies, one being Otherworld Computing, which is great because you never know when you're going to need a battery. Next, we're going to go to the left here and talk about that hard drive. So like I said previously, they come standard with an old traditional spinning hard drive. Those are junk. You don't want those anymore, and they're very, very slow. You can pop in a solid-state drive which has no moving components, and they're estimated to run 9 to 10 times quicker than a traditional hard drive. Up above the battery, we have the RAM or memory, depending on what you want to call it. Apple states you can only upgrade these to 8, but you can technically upgrade to 16 gigs. Both of the DIMM slots can accept 8 gigs of RAM apiece, totaling you out to 16. Very good if you're a video editor or you run a digital audio workstation like Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, etc. And above the hard drive, we have the optical drive. One awesome trick you can do here is you can get what's called a data doubler from OWC. You can swap out that optical drive and you can get another hard drive because they take the same kind of SATA cable and the same connector on the logic board. So what a lot of people do is they pop out that drive, or the optical drive, excuse me, and they either run a RAID 0 striped with their hard drive, giving you a lot more speed, and you can have two hard drives running together, but you do come into issues if your data gets corrupted. Both those drives, you're going to be unable, to get any data off of there because they kind of have a Red Robin effect where they're using data between both drives. Another one, you can do RAID 1, which is a mirrored RAID where you constantly have data written to both drives, which is awesome. A way that I would probably do it is I would just put a drive in there and have it be pretty much like an external drive, but in the computer. If you guys like content like this, I will be doing more videos like this in the future. You can like, subscribe, let's communicate in the comments, and we can help each other out. Thank you guys, and have a good one.